Hey everybody, Lawrence here with Dirty Basic Drain coming at you with another one. Well, slowly chipping away at my pile of shame. It's not a pile of opportunity. Let's be honest. I'm not going to go that it's a pile of shame. But up on the table this round, 7 Chaos Warhounds. I'll be using them as Hellhounds, Direwolves, whatever. Fits the bill for when I need a wolf. Or a big, bad, ugly looking wolf, but yeah, I painted up 7 Chaos Warhounds that were floating around in my bit bins for who knows how long, but I'm actually happy with how they turned out. But before I get how I painted them, I want to give a big thank you to my patrons, Dungeon Matron, Mia Geek, Corel, and Sykes. Your guys' help every month is greatly appreciated, and it makes doing these videos and getting supplies and stuff much easier. So thank you very much. Okay, let's get to it. I already have these all black primed, and right now I'm just adding a zenithal highlight with some light gray, just because this is going to be a slap chop basically. And just basically, you can use a rattle can for this. I just prefer to use my airbrush because I don't feel like going outside. And now I'm going to be using some white ink just to give it like a high grade zenithal highlight to really make the colors that I'm going to be putting on pop even more, because like I said, I'm doing slap chops, so I'm using speed paints and all that. Now for the main body part, or the main part of the fur here, the big like lion tame mane tuft almost, I'm using various colors based anywhere there's fur. Browns, grays, and almost white on one of them, just so I have some variety in this unit of wolves, or warhounds. But let's quick slap on, done, and move on to the next one. Do a couple in one color, then shoot to another color and do that. But like I said, just for variety, so it's not all the same. And of course, I kind of want to give the skin a bit of an undead look, so I'm using some rigor mortis and some occultist cloak, just to darken the rigor mortis down a little bit. Mix it all up together. And this is going to go all over the skin areas of the Warhounds. Chaos Warhounds? Yeah, Chaos Warhounds. And just to give it almost like an undead feeling to it. And now here I want to grab some Reichland Flesh Shade. I want to give all the skin areas, I wasn't happy with how it was looking just straight out like it was, so I'm adding a Flesh Shade to it just to basically get into the cracks and curves and accentuate all the shadows. Like I said, you are not going to win any painting contest with what I'm doing. I am strictly going so it looks good on the tabletop from like 3 feet away. Because I have too many miniatures without paint, and I want to get them to where they're tabletop ready and will look good on the table. But what I'm doing is just adding some shadows in it. I'm just slopping it all over the flesh areas I just painted, and to add shadows to where it needs to be. Now I'm using Express Color Velvet Red, and this is going to be used anywhere that needs to be red, like exposed like insides or their mouths, tongues, stuff like that. But this works out the same as the speed paints, mixing it up with some medium and just going to slap it on anywhere that I need reds, like say the tongues,
eyes, wherever I want it to go. And here I'm grabbing some Reaper Master Series stained ivory, basically a bone color. And I want to paint all the horns and teeth and claws and anything that looks like it might be bone or, anything like that. I'm just giving this a base color with the stained ivory and just going to town on anything that looks like it should be this bone color. Now I'm using some Reaper yellow bone, and I'm going to use that as a highlight for on all the claws and little bone spikes that are sticking out through the fur and the different Warhounds. Just using this as a highlight color, really, just to make it pop a little bit more. But I'm leaving like where it actually meets the model to alone, and going up a little bit further on the bone and just starting to paint, just to make the tips and ends look a little bit more brighter. At least that's what I'm telling myself. And of course, I'm going back to the Reichland Flesh Shade here. Oh, getting the focus. There we go. Oh, wait. Oh, there we go. Reichland Flesh Shade. I'm using this straight out of the bottle and just basically going over all the bones that I had just painted because I wasn't entirely happy with how they look, and I just wanted to give them more of a stained look to them. Just to look them more dirty and nasty, and also get in between some of the places to accentuate the shadows and whatnot. But again, I just wasn't completely happy with how they look, so Flesh Shade worked. Okay, now I'm going back to the yellow bone again, and I've put some into the paint tray there and watered it down a little bit, and I'm going to highlight all the different bones again, just with a watered down mix, so it's not quite as much of a contrast as it was before, and it's more of a subtle highlight to all the different bones and claws and nasty looking stuff. But again, like I said, it's about a 50-50 mix of paint and water, and it just gets a much more subtle, easy highlight. I'm using some Army Painter White and some Faded Khaki from Reaper Master Series. I used the Army Painter because it was within reach. I made a mixture of this and then watered it down like a 50-50 mix of water to the paint. And I'm going to be doing almost of a glazing highlight. Just build up really thin layers on different areas that need a highlight, just to make them pop. No, you definitely won't get everything done like within one coat. I mean, it just build up slowly over and over, brush after brush, and just this is a slow highlight. And I mean, that's a simple way to say it. There's no magic way of doing it. It's just trying to get up the upper edges so it looks like the sun's beating down on it and showing off all the different texture and details of the model. I really just want this to look good from 3 feet away, but and here I'm using some Army Painter Strong Tone that I plan on just adding some shadows and whatnot to all the fur areas because it was just looking too monotone for my taste. So the Army Painter Strong Tone did the job and definitely left some contrast there. And I'm going to be using some burnt umber from Apple Bear. I'm going to start working on the bases here. And the bases, I'm going to paint my standard colors for bases because, like I said, I've said before, I like my miniatures to match the bases to match my standards for my terrain. So I'm going to go with what I know, and this works. It looks pretty decent for the tabletop, and again, it'll match the terrain. So I'm giving it a base color of a burnt umber, which is a dark brown. You can use whatever you want. But this is what I'm using, because they're mine. And now for a mid-tone, I'm going with a nutmeg brown apple barrel, because it's cheap. And this is just basically, I'm overbrushing all the sand and stuff that I had already glued to the bases previous to any kind of paint. And for a quick highlight, I'm using this light mocha, again from Apple Barrel. It's just a quick highlight dry brush, and just to give it more of a dusty feel to it. It's pretty simple, pretty quick, and pretty easy to do. Though for some reason I'm taking my time on this. I don't know why, but hey, whatever, It's a quick dry brush. And you can do this step on an entire squad really quick. Now I'm going to be painting a few of the larger size stone pieces of sand on here as stone, so I'm using the dark blue gray because I like that color as a base, and just basically picking out the larger chunks of the construction sand that I glued down to the bases. Just to give it a little variation and not just all brown. And now for a mid-tone, I'm going with pewter gray. Like I said, same as before, same as the dirt. I'm just using dark, medium light. And I'm doing an overbrush on all the areas, all the stone pieces, and just quick on all of them. there's not a whole lot to do, so I can do the whole squad like real fast. And now that's dry, time for a highlight dry brush with a light gray or granite gray I'm using. And it's just, like I said, a real quick dry brush on all the stones just to highlight it and make it look stone-like. I'm grabbing my pre-mixed PVA and water 50-50 mix, and I'm just going to brush on anywhere that I want to start putting my flocking, because just to make it look different. And some brown earth flocking, then some green flocking, and then some yellow as a highlight. Quick and easy. Now that the flocking's on, I'm just going to add some grass tufts, a cup, like 3 to each base, just to break it up. And now I got 7 wolves. I can use them as Hellhounds, dire wolves, whatever I want to, and make a player's life miserable. Because I got 7 of them to torture them with. But again, I mean, for a quick tabletop paint job, I'm pretty happy with them. And, from 3 feet away, these look really good. So, they won't win any painting contests, but they look good on the table.
Hey everybody, if you made it this far, it means you watched the end, and as always, I greatly appreciate it. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. If you want to see more, click subscribe. If you want to get a hold of me directly, come to the Discord, link down below. I would love to see pictures of the stuff you guys have painted up. And it's like, I know my stuff's like tabletop quality, but that's all I shoot for anymore. But I would love to see what you guys are doing. I'm really happy with how these turned out. Like I said, throughout the process, I was like, this is kind of but in the end, I think they're going to look great on the table next time, I need to torture players with some wolves, and these are definitely going to fit the bill. So, but like I said, when you're painting your miniatures, making your terrain, always remember, guys, the only person you got to worry about is you, because it's your miniatures or terrain.